What is up, everyone? I am so excited to talk to you about something that I am super passionate about, and that is free and extremely cheap educational courses. Yay! Just kidding, for real. It's super nerdy to be interested in this, but at the same time, it can save you so much money and time. And I'm going to break down some stuff revolving around this. So I've been self-taught, and web design was one of the first things that I really got into. General computer stuff, Photoshop, design, social media marketing. I worked for a company 2 years where I did Amazon, FBA, e-commerce implementation, worked with coding and APIs and general marketing and a bunch of different stuff. We even designed a backpack, worked in, a lot of different stuff. I dropped out of high school. So you can self-teach yourself a lot of things. I have learned this along the way. It's not hard. There's a lot of free courses on YouTube. My general rule of thumb is if you watch about 100 YouTube videos on a specific subject, you will have a medium level knowledge on that subject once you've watched 100 videos, which could take you several days, or depending on the length of the videos and how much you pay attention, which you want to pay attention as much as possible. You don't want to pace yourself. You don't want to go like a full 48 hours and just binge watch 100 videos, but you can. I mean, it's up to you, right? It depends on what you're trying to get done. So we're going to talk about how to not go and spend like $80,000 in 4 years of your time at university that is going to teach you the same stuff that you can get for like, I don't know, like $100 free on YouTube. And you can say that I'm crazy, but made money off this, had jobs off this, hired people with college degrees off this. It's not a big deal, right? People teach themselves stuff, they learn applicable skills, they become hireable in fields that need their skill set, right? Because they have the skills, they taught themselves that. There's a lot of free knowledge out there. There's people just sharing knowledge more than ever, because there's this thing called the internet, which you're watching this video on right now, and I don't know if you knew it, but for some reason people just sometimes want to help each other out, and that seems like a really weird concept because everybody's naturally just super selfish, right? But actually, what I found is that there's all sorts of experts and very competent people who are sharing their knowledge with people and providing really good educational resources and guides and showing you how to do things, showing you how to gain skill sets, right? And just because they don't have professor before their name doesn't mean that they are not giving you valid information. In fact, it can be a lot more valid because they're a working expert in that field, whereas a lot of university professors are not, okay? They have that saying, those that can't do teach, right? And that's not always true, but I've heard that you're not going to, and I don't know from exact experience, I've heard that a lot of your professors in academia will be experts on the subject based off of what they learned, not by doing, right? So these are not people who have been in the field for a really long time. They're people who have gained a degree in that field and then are now passing that degree knowledge down to you, right? But I'll stop my rant there. So one of the resources that I want to point out to you, and I'm going to show you, and people will say, oh, this is not, this is all garbage or this or that, and blah, blah, blah. So udemy.com, right? Udemy has a ton of extremely cheap courses that you can go on here and get into. And with cheap, I do mean a lot of these courses are like $11 and up, right? The majority of them are around that. So one of the things that I know from experience, so right here, there's a complete WordPress business guide, right? 11 bucks. You can see the actual content of the courses too. So they have lots of lectures, hours of content. And when we talk about like a college class, right? If you're like, oh, I took a college course on Word, if there was a college course on WordPress, or, commercial web design for people who have like WordPress type platforms, right? Like your average mom and pop websites that you'd be creating for your average mom and pop, right? WordPress, right? In that course right here, it says that you can get 21 hours of video courses, right? Which is the same as any like online college. Basically, they're going to give you online video content. Some of it maybe is going to be live. Right? So you have 5 articles, a downloadable resource, you get lifetime access, so there's no time on it, and then it breaks down the full syllabus of what you're actually going to learn. So in this one, it has how to build a brochure site, how to build a blog style homepage, how to build specific like complexities like building a scrolling homepage site, right? Just not breaking down into too deep of this. I've done this before. I've made sites for people. I did one project where I got paid, I think it was $1,200, and I had the site done for them in like a week. It was a site for a dog club, right? And when I say dog club, like, yeah, like people who like having the same breed of dog, it was for them. And it was really easy. I did it all with WordPress, and I put in everything for them. I gave them a store and all this stuff, and I learned all that stuff to make that money for this group who needed my skills from stuff like this, right? I didn't actually pay to learn anything that I learned. I just went and did what I call a YouTube university. I went and learned that. But let's say that like websites and coding is like not your thing and you don't want to do that, right? Easy. So a lot of the jobs that you're going to get with a entry-level business degree, you're going to need to know things like, you're going to need to know Excel. They have Excel on here, all the Microsoft suites and softwares. They have that, and there's also an insane amount of free resources on YouTube and just other video websites that covers that, okay? They also have in here a bunch of different management skills, leadership, product management, sales. So they have business-to-business sales courses, they have business development sales courses, all these basic things that probably, if you put together a package of maybe like less than $200, let's say that's like 20 courses worth of material, you could become a, that $200 is like, I know a lot of college courses for just one course, it could be like upwards of $1,500 for like that one course for that one semester per college credit. It's like, or even more than that, right? And this gets you right down to the meat and potatoes of it, and you can maybe accomplish this in like a semester or less, okay? They've got all sorts of stuff in here for some media, right? So they show you how to do audio production, how to write ebooks, right? Over here in IT and software, they got IT certifications. So Amazon AWS is a huge deal in the world of like cloud computing and cloud storage and cloud databases and everything. If you know how to get, if you get into one of these Amazon AWS courses, that's really powerful. That's a skill set that you can take straight to the workforce and just start going, right? And I'm still in the kind of world of coding, but let's see, let's go over here to, all right, over here in travel, they even have a course on Airbnb hosting. So like if you wanted to get in something like that, but you don't 100% know like the ins and outs of like working through Airbnb or like what you need to do and how all that works, well, there's a course for it on here, right? So over here in home improvement, right? So they even have like electrical wiring, like lighting design. Let me go look at lighting design. That's kind of interesting because that's like interior design. A lot of people, I actually know people who have gone to like Art Institute of Nashville and they've paid like upwards of like $50,000-$60,000 to get like an interior design degree. At least I think that's what they were going for. Some sort of like interior design thing. Don't quote me on that, but I'll display some of the costs that they give for some of these degrees, right? It's completely insane. And these programs right here, they're showing how to actually like use software to create mock-ups that you would then pitch to a customer and then make quotes to provide like, hey, here's how we're gonna light your venue, like Here's how your building is going to look. Stuff that you would work with. What's that word? People who do architecture. Whatever. Anyhow, photography. They've got all sorts of photography stuff in here, right? And so this is just Udemy. This doesn't even cover the ton of other sites that are like this that are popping up that have all of these learning resources that real people who are experts in these fields have provided to you for you know, not that much. And you know, they're $11 and you're like, well, why would this person put out this content for $11? That's too cheap. But just think of what happens if, you know, 1,000 people buy this course, right? Which is not a lot of people. Then for them to create this course content, then they're getting paid $11,000, right? Udemy is probably taking a small cut, but that's still a large chunk of money for them to just make this course and put it out there just to make some videos of themselves talking and then provide that to people who want to learn, right? And $1,000 or 1,000 users is a really small number that shows sometimes how many people are actually using these courses and have actually bought them. And like this one has 646 students enrolled, so almost about 1,000, and they've been selling it for $11.99, right? That is pretty cool, right? So this is how to automate and animate holiday lights. Kind of cool. That seems like more something that you would just do in your own time here. Well, let's go in like health and fitness. Fitness, let me see if I can find a training, like a fitness training course. And you can just search for anything up here to kind of learn. Yeah, so Pilates teacher training course, right? So 38 lectures, 7 hours. So you're gonna learn how to do Pilates, and I guess that'll get you ready to do a test for a certification that you need on like a state level to actually be able to open up and do Pilates in like a studio or go work for a studio. You'd have to research the requirements of what are needed, but the knowledge is here and it can get imparted to you for just an investment of your time, right? To just learn the material and a very small monetary investment. So a lot of people think that you need to go out and spend lots and lots of money. Like if you didn't spend $80,000 on your education, did you really get an education? Like if it wasn't super expensive, it must have not been that good, right? That's absolutely not true, right? Absolutely not true at all, right? So there's all sorts of stuff out here. If you go to YouTube and you look up any of these fields as well, you're gonna find obviously lots of different things. You're maybe going to have to drill down to actually find real material from a real expert, but there's so much now. If you looked up like yoga, let me just go in over here. All right, so yoga instructor course. Here's all these people talking about should you be a yoga instructor, the life of a yoga instructor. So you can kind of feel out and learn from these people if you even want to do this, which is a big thing there. A lot of people spend like 2-3 years in college spending like tens of thousands of dollars, and then they're like, oh, I realize I don't really want to do this. I know that's not applicable for a yoga teacher, but you can find this for anything. You find people talking about what it's like to actually be like any position ever, right? So, and then there's tips for new yoga teachers, all sorts of different videos, like all these, you know, how to prepare for a yoga teacher training, like all these helpful resources that are going to guide you down the path of your goal ultimately, right? So I would just encourage you to go and look at some of this stuff. Go look at what resources are available. Don't just dive into a college is just going to take your money and think that you need to pay them for education when it's literally free all over the place. And I know it sounds crazy that there's free education that's valuable all over the place, but you know, back in the day, before the internet, before even like, you know, libraries were commonplace, like you would have to pay crazy money and they would be really rare to find like a book. Like I literally can go to the thrift store and buy a book for like 25 cents, like any book I want. right, on any topic. Like books are just literally like, no one cares about an actual printed book anymore. It's just like so commonplace. It's like whatever. Like I just got a physics book at the thrift store the other day. It was like 25 cents. It was like a big fat physics book. So I was like, I don't know, maybe I'll look into this sometime and learn about something, right? Maybe I'll look into this at some point in time. But my point is that it was worth almost nothing when in the past it used to be worth a ton. So like, you know, we're in an environment now where education and resources can be shared freely, and it doesn't cost all this money because you don't need to have massive brick buildings and an auditorium and all these classrooms, and you don't need to pay your teachers $250K a year to teach, you know, English 3, right? Because you can literally just make some videos and then distribute that to everyone who wants to learn that content, and it costs $11 because you can share it through the internet dirt cheap, instead of making people pay, you know, $2,500 for one semester of it. And on top of, you know, overall when it's all said and done, you're spending like, you know, 4 months or however long to go sit in a classroom every day or every other day, right? How often the class is, so that you can get lectured to learn this content that you didn't need to spend like that much time on, right? Just check it out, right? Check out Udemy, check out the concept of like YouTube University. That is stuff, those are easy wins, right? You can quickly find that there's way more knowledge than you ever thought was out there. So I hope this video was helpful to you. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good one.